Hello and welcome. So originally I was going to make this as part of my February tier list video, but I noticed that this segment got a little too long, so I decided to just make this as a separate video instead. And as the title would suggest, we're going to analyze and predict the new crystal weapons: Rotcaller Staff, Skystrider Bow, and Forcepulse Bracers. Let's start off with the Rotcaller Staff. I think this weapon has the potential to be very strong, especially in small scale content. It will definitely be used in 2v2 Hellgates, probably around the A tier. Possible that it could even replace Demonic due to the anti-heal. Now, obviously Rotcaller is worse against double DPS and one-shot setups than Demonic, but against other healer DPS matchups, I think it's very good. But we will need to do some more testing to tell if it's A tier or S tier, because the utility of Demonic cannot be underrated. I also think it will be pretty viable in 5v5 Hellgates. Like, some people play Great Cursed, and it's pretty good. And this is definitely an alternative to it. And I think this is something teams will have to look out for. You can just drop it on enemy Blight Reset, and that's a lot of value. Or even a Graveguard helmet. But yeah, for 10v10 content, it will be strong as well, due to it basically being an AoE forbidden stab that you can play on a curse staff. So you can play it either as a clothy, as ranged DPS, or as a support, wearing Judy armor or royal jacket, and you're just a pierce plus anti-heal bot, and I think that will provide a lot of value. Now that said, I don't think this staff is actually that OP in ZVZs as I've heard some people suggest. I think given which other curse staffs you have to compete with, like Damnation Staff, but also primarily Life Curse, it just has such strong utility in ZVZs. I'm not sure if you can fit it in, especially if you just cleanse it anyway. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's bad, but I feel like Life Curse is just better utility-wise, and Damnation is better offensively. Now, admittedly, they did change it so Fallen Staff cleanses dots, so Damnation it's a slight nerf to Damnation, but that doesn't mean Damnation is not gonna see play. Now in solo content, obviously it won't really see any play, as it has to compete with basically every other curse staff except Damnation is better, because the E is not really that useful in that content. But yeah, I expect to see it a lot everywhere except for solo content pretty much, and maybe not as much in ZVZs. It will definitely be tried and be a strong option across the board in a small scale PvP. Alright, next up we have Skystrider Bow. I'm sorry guys, I think this one is trash and won't see play anywhere. Wait, hold up guys, Quazars from the future here. So the official Albion Online channel replied that they will buff the weapon, so it might not be as horrendous when it actually comes out. But in my opinion, just overall design of the weapon is horrible. Anyway, back to the video. Not that crazy of a take, I think, but it just has so many downsides. It's really slow, long cooldown. You're not immune to damage over time while midair, so you can die midair if you stepped on a fire queue like right before. Explosive Arrow's doubly ability does not work with the E, which other bows do, most of them, which, yeah. I just don't see where you would use this weapon. Like, how is this ever better than Longbow, Misspiercer, or Wailing Bow? You know what I mean? I just don't see it, whether it's solo content or group play. It gets outclassed by everything else pretty much, so my prediction is this will not even be remotely viable anywhere due to low damage, long cooldown, slow and telegraphed setup if you're trying to do it a clap comp. It doesn't proc explosive arrows. Like overall, the way they could buff it is just making it proc explosive arrows. That's the least they could do, but even then, I think it's pretty bad. And the only place you might sometimes see it in is low rank crystal arenas by noobs. That's where you're most likely to see this, but let's be honest, people play the most random crap there anyway, so yeah, unplayable, especially because bows are bad at the moment. And last we have Forcepulse Bracers, which, to be honest, it's kinda hard to predict how viable this will be and what content it really fits. But in my opinion, if we're talking large scale, I think we can all agree this weapon is not meant for large scale. Like, now that I think about it, all of the other gloves, yes, all of them are probably better in ZVZs than this one. I actually think so. This is way too slow in any kind of clap setup, and there's way better options for a monkey dive setup, so unplayable for large scale. Now, in what situation are these new gloves useful? See, it's a little confusing, because why did they add HP reduction to this weapon? Quite frankly, it doesn't really make sense, because the content this will most likely see play in is solo content for the mobility. But you have other gloves that probably do it better, like Ava Fists or Battle Bracers, or probably others as well, to be honest. I just don't really see the thought process of when they designed this weapon. Like, what was their plan? Because it's cool, it's not horrible in mists, but it's just competing against a lot of better weapons across all contents, even in the best case scenario, where I think if you play this in small scale, maybe roads, I just don't see it. You would rather just play Hellfire and one-shot someone with E plus W. Like, yeah, it's pretty bad. Might be playable in mists, like B tier, because you have mobility. About mists, I'm not 100% sure how viable it'll be. I think B tier, but I'm not 100%. But for everything else mentioned, I stand by that. I think it's going to be either complete trash or just bad. Like, think about it this way. Your sign maulers is probably better than this, and that thing does not see much play. So yeah. And that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments below what you think about the new crystal weapons, if you agree or disagree, if you think I'm retarded or super smart, anything in between. And yeah, tier list video coming on Saturday or Sunday, one of those. I just thought this part was a little too long to include in that video, so I made a separate video instead. Farming that ad revenue money, you know how it is. Anyway, drop a like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time. Peace.